Hello and welcome to the FPL show on Premier Cheese. Before we get into the video, please remember to like and subscribe to this channel because otherwise, YouTube won't give us any money, even though we probably deserve it for all of our hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views. So, cheers. Let's get started.
Right, Ellis, welcome back to the FPL show. No Jack this week because he could do yesterday, told us he could do today when we failed to record, and has gone out for work drink. So, what the social enigma is, what the social enigma we are actually. But we will carry on, we will persevere, and we will carry on with the FPL show. And with that, let's go on to winner of the week. Two weeks in a row, by the skin of my teeth, we have won. So I've won with this team.
It's even closer than that as well because you couldn't be asked to fix the table.
I can't fix the table, actually, and the audience won't know what you're talking about because I'm going to fix it in post. So you just seem crazy. But yeah, so I had 54 points. I believe you had 51, 3 less than me, and Jack had 48, or did he have 46 as well? So he had 48. Yeah, it's been close this week. And I don't think it's through... We have a lot of similar players. Like Salah, obviously, it's half our points for all of us because we all captained him. It all went through. But other than that, I've had a very...
obviously the correct decision.
Yeah, I know. Like, even Ben Foster, who was playing against him in goal, captained most against him. Which I'm pretty sure is like... Surely, it's not betting, but it's like... If that was a bet, you're putting... It's your interest against whatever.
Yeah.
But I won with this team. And it's pretty basic choice. And like, really, if you look at it, Salah's done all the hard grafting. Everyone else has got 2 1s frees, apart from Duffy for the clean sheet. Did he get? Yeah, he did get the clean sheet in the yellow. Traore got the assist. Yeah. He didn't even get the assist. Actually, he got the foul for the free kick that never scored in the Aston Villa game. And Aspilicueta obviously got a clean sheet. So actually, we're all awful at FPL. And somehow I've come out on top in a bad week because 50 sounds good until you see that Salah actually just got majority of our points. And everyone's got Salah. So...
Yeah, it's not been a great week for the rest of us. I bought in Diaz this week, or maybe bought him in last week. I can't remember, but I think I bought him in this week. And he didn't play. He's been like the mainstay in the Man City defence. They played Burnley like a nailed-on clean sheet, and then Pep goes, "Nah, not this week. You're not going to get to play." Like, what is wrong with that? Like, Grealish shouldn't even come on. He was in my team as well. He could have got a couple of assists against Burnley, maybe a goal.
Yeah, we've realised as well, like Man City, like I think we had some inklings of people who were mainstays in that squad. And other than did Bernardo Silva start? I believe Bernardo Silva is probably the most etched on for a starting berth, but I don't think he gets points regularly enough. When like we were talking about Ferran Torres earlier in the season, now he's not even starting, and
but he's injured now. I think he's out for like 2 months.
Yeah, and their defenders can't even nail down a place. It's just insane, and I just stay away from Man City players now. I thought Grealish was certain because he's a £100 million player. Clearly not. It's risky with Man City players, and I don't like it. But other than that, do you have anything to say on your teams or my teams or how you performed this week?
I'm a big fan of your midfield all getting returns. Obviously, just 2 of them are clean sheets, but that extra point's pretty good. Lukaku. I'm sure we'll probably talk about him in a bit when we're on about like transferred in, transferred out. Yeah, because he has been slow recently.
Yeah, especially with Chelsea games. Especially with Chelsea's run-ins, but we'll discuss that later in transfers out. And anyway, let's get into the big earners of the week. Ellis, so these are the big earners of the week. Is there anyone that you're thinking of bringing into your team? I know there's a lot of people that we don't have because we had, other than Salah, had a horrible week, all combined. Shane Dunk is there, Redmond's there, Mendy had an incredible game. Is there anyone there that you're thinking of bringing in?
I have made my transfer for this week.
Okay.
It's a defensive transfer. I have taken out my Chelsea left back and bought in a Chelsea left back. I've got Ben Chilwell in.
To be fair, and that's
come back from injury.
He's put him start, and he's also scoring goals. He's scoring goals, assisting goals. He's contributing the other end of the pitch. Alonso was doing that as well, but obviously we've changed this all around, and now Chilwell was not an asset, and now he is. It's interesting. I think with Chelsea's run, which is still good, they still have a decent run with Norwich next. I put a lot of emphasis on them getting returns because I think they've maybe fixed not defensive problems, but Chilwell seems to be their most attacking outlet when Lukaku seems to be getting duds. And we'll talk about Lukaku in the transfers out. I imagine it'll be transfers out, not transfers in. He's not returning, but Chilwell is. So I think that's a safe bet.
You know, it really annoyed me. Like the other week, I played my wild card and I bought in Alonso, and that was when Chilwell came in and has scored goals and got clean sheets. So it's pissed me off, to be honest, because I thought Alonso, he's played every game so far. He's kept Chilwell out the side. He's got goals. He's got assists. He's got clean sheets. There's no need to drop him. And then straight away, Chilwell's come back and angered me. So I've put him on my team. McGinn got an assist and a goal against Wolves. A goal. But he's not. I don't think he's as a frequent enough points returner.
No, 5.8 million. I think even with 5.8 million, I think it's better budget ones who are more regular returners than McGinn would be, because obviously he's not a deep lying midfielder, but he will be in the centre midfield, and you don't want a centre midfielder. You want a left mid, a winger, a attacking mid, rather than someone who's going to play centre mid. So I think, McGinn's a no-go. I think Salah, obviously. Kane is interesting to me because it's his first haul. It's literally his first haul that isn't just playing games. And obviously you put that down to Newcastle being awful. They do have difficult games coming up. West Ham they will struggle against. And they have Man United and Everton, who are, of the more difficult games at the top half of the table, they're pretty decent, but still very difficult. But then from there, they got Leeds, Burnley, Brentford, Norwich, Brighton and Leicester. So decent running after that point. And I'm thinking if Lukaku doesn't continue, then I think maybe swapping him for Kane would be a wise thing, even though he is a little bit more expensive than Lukaku.
Yeah, that'd be fair. If you're going for your premium strikers, Kane, if he's coming back into form, obviously he's got his goal now. That might kick him on in the next few weeks. And yeah, and
when we were talking earlier about Man City out people who are guaranteed starts, these two, Bernardo, De Bruyne, they are the people who are guaranteed. And again, because they play centre mid, or they're not the most attacking of the midfielders in Man City's team, we don't put an eye to them. But because they're in that team all the time, where we thought Grealish would be, but Grealish apparently isn't anymore, where we thought Torres, who would be this striker, but with a midfielder category, De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva still start every game. They still create goals. They still think goals.
I don't know. I think it's a bit risky to say every game still. Like, I think Diaz and Grealish still nailed on as much as you can be in a Man City team. No one is safe from pet roulette, Sam. You know this.
I know this, but I think
next week Bernardo and De Bruyne not getting any points. We're not playing any games.
I don't think so. I'm not going for this because I don't trust it. But I still think Bernardo and De Bruyne stay in that team because they are just the most creative players in that thing, and they do start every game. Bernardo especially, Bernardo is Pep's wonder boy. He starts every single game and he's just a workhorse in midfield. Yeah. I still think they're safe bets, but I won't go for it. Yeah, exactly.
You won't go for it. You don't want to think of it. But one player the one player I want to point out is Mendy. I can't quite see how many he's selected by because my camera's going really fuzzy quite quick. But he is
14%.
The best. 14%.
1-4.
He's a very good goalkeeper option because he's not just getting clean sheets, he's making save points as well, because like Chelsea are having quite a few shots against him and he's making so many, like against Brentford he made so many saves.
I think Brentford were the better team, and I think you showed you the stats before, which was like Brentford just had so many shots, and I think Mendy was saving with his face during that game. It was insane. I don't really want to make changes out for goalie. I'm going to probably stick with Ederson all season. I think you saw in my outro I had Foster as my goalie, but only because Ederson couldn't start because of international breaks and all the Brazil crap that's been happening. So I don't change goalies, and I don't think I'll ever change the goalie because I don't think I did the entirety last season unless Ederson was out or something like this. So I don't think Mendy's going to come into my team. I'm more likely to do a Chelsea defender, especially Chilwell, who has attacking returns in him as well. Like, I know Mendy made a lot of saves, but he's not always going to make huge amount of saves.
You're going to put Chilwell in, are you going to copy me?
No. I'm going to put... I've already got Aspi and Rudiger, mate. I can't... Either Rudiger's out injured now, so I'm not going to put 3 Chelsea defenders in. I'm not that audacious with what Chelsea are doing at the moment. But talking about bringing in people, let's go into transfers in. Right, Ellis. I usually change between you and Jack, but it's on you, so I can only direct it at you. the elusive man, I feel, through the entire SPL season, that nobody really puts trust into, but finally people are putting trust into Jamie Vardy. That I feel of the high range strikers. He's not high range like a Lukaku, Ronaldo, or a Kane or something like this, but he's around 9-10 million. He's still expensive, and he has been getting constant returns. So for someone who's getting constant returns, we haven't seen him transferred in that much, but now people are showing trust that he does score. When Leicester are playing well, he scores. When Leicester are playing badly, he scores. So are you thinking about putting Vardy in?
Personally, not. Mostly, well, I don't know. I guess maybe I've got Lukaku in there and he's not performing. So if I take him out, maybe putting Vardy in. He's a pretty big price player, but obviously not as much as Lukaku. Maybe that's the way to go. Yeah, I'm not sure. But he's in form at the moment. He's getting some goals, he's getting assists, he's making chances. He does seem to be Leicester's goal output.
Yeah, and I think the one thing with Vardy that I'll bring up is that Leicester have looked bad all season, and I think against Man United they looked very good. It was sort of the Leicester of old that have been going for, I say of old, the last season, who have been going for fifth, pushing the other teams to Champions League. And he scores when they're bad. So now that they look good now, and obviously it's one game, you don't want to go, oh, they're going to be brilliant forever now. He could start hauling a lot, and I think they've only got really one difficult game against Chelsea in the next 10. From that, they've got Brentford, Arsenal, Leeds, Watford, Southampton, Villa, Newcastle and Spurs, which are decent run until a bad run of fixtures during Christmas. I think he could be a good asset, and I think people haven't put trust in him so far. Obviously, people are now, but I think Vardy could be a good asset. I'm striking between him and Kane. If Kane does continue and Lukaku doesn't start returning, especially with Norwich next, he needs to return soon because I've got too much money tied up in him. But other than that, look, Chelsea defenders, Lukaku's still transferred in, and obviously you see the transferred out as well. There's more transferred out than him. It's about the same. And obviously, I think the transferred in is based on his run-in. Chelsea still have a really good run-in. They've had a good run-in for a while.
Yeah, they've got Norwich next, right?
Norwich next. I think a few other green fixtures, but other than that, I still think Chelsea are a decent bet to go for. Obviously, probably more defensively now, especially with Chilwell now the attacking outlet on that left wing back role. It's just Lukaku's returns that really worry me because he just hasn't got it. But obviously, Norwich, Newcastle, Burnley, and Leicester are going to be good fixtures to have if he is going to do something. If he doesn't do anything against Norwich, he's not going to do anything against anyone.
You surely hope so. I've got to say that I am, astounded by the reactionary nature of Fantasy Premier League. Like, Firmino got a hat-trick this weekend. He's not great in terms of returns, assists or goals very often. He's got a hat-trick, 50,000 people put him in their team, assuming he's going to get a hat-trick next week as well. Like, I know players coming in out of form.
It's also,
they might get a goal, but
it's also just Livermonte got a freaking clean sheet, and everyone's gone mental, even though Southampton are still not great. I think they have decent fixtures.
I put Livermore in a good few weeks ago, and he's a good outlet for them. He's got a few assists,
average returns. I think for the price, it's pretty.
He's pretty cheap. He's pretty cheap.
4.3 million. I think the prices are pretty good for them. Mendy, obviously, out of a really good performance against Brentford, has been transferring a lot. It's all just very reactionary. We see this every week. Yeah. It's just the entire.
Tielemans scored a goal. Tielemans in.
The Tielemans in. Livermonte scored a clean sheet. Let's get him in. Tony scored one goal. Let's bring it in.
I think Townsend's quite an interesting one because Everton didn't score this week. They lost 1-0 to West Ham. He's been okay in the last few games, but he's not probably lit the world light. So I do wonder why so many people have.
They've got Watford next at home, so it's a decent result. Also a cheap midfielder. So I think if you've got say 2 free transfers, you want to bring in someone who's highly transferred. You means you have to take someone out mid-range for someone very cheaper, and then bring in your bigger signing, your £12 million signing. So I think Townsend's the first one, the former in that idea, where it's someone cheaper to bring in to make funds for someone else. But yeah, other than that, do you have anything to say about the transfers in?
No.
Okay, let's get on to transfers out. Right, transfers out, and Ronaldo. It's Ronaldo, because he hasn't scored, he hasn't done anything. Man United look awful in every way, and their fixtures are turning very poor now. I think
sponsored by Pepsi Max. Sorry.
I think a lot of people were, when we were talking about Ronaldo, I think everyone was going about, and Man United especially, when we were talking about Man United, they were going like, oh, they're still there, they're still in the Champions League place, they're blah, blah. They've had really easy fixtures. They had really easy fixtures to start the season.
They did.
And I think now that they're starting to turn away, because all the other top 6 teams, they had all played each other. They've all at least played each other once or twice. Man United hadn't played any of them, apart from Leicester, and now they've lost. So these fixtures, I think now having Liverpool, Spurs, City, having a game against Watford, but also Chelsea and Arsenal, isn't a good run-in for results, especially when you were struggling against smaller teams.
Well, yeah, look, the 4 players on this list of top 12, 15, whatever that is, are Man United players, which I think tells you everything you need to know about their form, and their upcoming fixtures as well aren't great, are they? I think they got Liverpool at the weekend. Yeah, they're not doing great. They haven't kept any clean sheets, or not many clean sheets this season. Shaw's not got an assist yet, so he's obviously going out. Pogba's not really doing the returns. Ronaldo obviously not scored for ages. And Fernandes, he's a £12 million midfielder.
Who's not on pens.
He's not on pens, and the last thing he's done of note is missed a penalty. So
yeah, and I think obviously we see Grealish now, but Grealish I think was in the outs and the ins a lot. Now he's just a lot out because obviously he didn't start. Diaz the same. I think it's a very boring list to look at. We look at this every week, and it's just the same exact stuff of someone who doesn't start, a really expensive striker who doesn't score. Someone who did really well at the start of the season, who was in a lot of people's squads at the start, now getting still shipped out with Pogba. Rudiger, you can obviously see that. Alonso, he isn't starting. Chilwell's in front of him.
I don't think there's exactly really much what I've done. I am one of those 157,000 people who are taking.
And I guarantee if you see Chilwell, it's going to say 157,000 in. So it's literally a swap for swap. So people still want a Chelsea defender, but they want one that actually is guaranteed to start. But yeah, I think
Antonio and Ben Rama are quite interesting ones, because Antonio was injured for a few weeks, so he got taken out then. But he came back. He scored against Leeds. I think that was the last game they played before this. And he's still in pretty good form. So it surprised me just because he didn't score against Everton that he's been removed so quickly. But they won this weekend as well.
They won this weekend, but West Ham do have a difficult fixture, I think, in the next 5. They have Spurs, Villa, Liverpool, Wolves and Man City. So it's a very difficult run-in, and I think they could still do something, but probably not in the thing. So if you see Antonio out and you maybe see Jimenez at the same or similar price who has got an easier run-in, you're going to go for him. I only know from Wolves' fixtures, I know we've got a decent run-in coming, or we're in the middle of it right now. So I think if you're swapping out for Jimenez or another striker who's at decent running, it's better than taking a chance on West Ham doing something against a Man City or a Spurs or a whoever it is.
Or a Villa
or a Villa or a Wolves or a Liverpool. Not Spurs. We'll not say. Probably guaranteed against Spurs. But yeah, I think that's probably due with fixtures, and then Watford they look horrible. I think when Norwich actually in their last game they played last 2, I think in the draw against Burnley looked alright. And I can't remember who they played. Who did they play? Who did Norwich play?
At the weekend, Liverpool. They lost 5.
And they looked all right against them. I think they looked all right, but obviously it's Liverpool. I actually thought they didn't look bad, and the score line didn't affect them that much. And I think they still look like they've got some fight in them. But yeah, other than that, do you have anything to say about this transfers out list?
Simicast, obviously Robertson's back. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you for listening, guys, and we'll see you next time. And watching. See you next time.